Hey everybody, I'm Sydney, and if you're new to my channel, please check out my playlist because I do videos on a variety of different subjects. Today I am going to be talking about calendars for the first time ever. And the reason I'm doing this is because my last video I did a forecast on almost all of the 2021 astrological year, which isn't actually a calendar system whatsoever. I believe it should be incorporated into the calendar system. So I did some research, and I found that there are three main types of calendar systems. There's so many other types, and that's why this is my first video on calendars, because I'm going to have a whole playlist on it in the future. But today I wanted to touch on the basics, and those are the three main types of calendars. So we have the lunar calendar and the solar calendar. I'm going to talk about the solar calendar first because that might be easier for you to understand depending on where you live and your culture. So it takes the Earth 365.25-ish days to make a complete cycle around the sun to get back to the same spot we were. And the benefits of a solar calendar are that it can track the seasons, so we know when there's going to be rain, we know when there's going to be flowers, we know when to plant crops, we know when to harvest crops. So that's very important to have the seasons line up to when the seasons are each year. And because the sun is a very important spiritual element. But so is the moon, and that's why there's the lunar calendar. So the benefits of a lunar calendar is that we get to track the cycles of the moon. Each month starts on the new moon, the next month starts on the new moon as well, so it's a full cycle of the moon. And the reason why it's so important to have 12 months in the calendar system is because, for one, in religious texts, it says that the number of months with God is 12 in the book of God, and in the Quran it says the word months 12 times. It says the word days 365 times, and it says the word years 19 times, 7 times in its plural form, and 12 times just a year in its singular form, which we'll get into that later with the LUNISOLAR calendar. But getting back to the lunar calendar, the cycle of the moon is approximately 29.5 days-ish. But 29.5 days obviously isn't so reasonable, so if you take 29 times 6 and 30 times 6, so you have 12 months in a year, and you have alternating between 29 and 30-day months, that's in tune with the cycles of the moon, and then you'll get a year that's pretty close to our solar year, and that's 354 days. So if you take 365 minus 354, you get 11 days. So it's 11 days short. That's why there's the LUNISOLAR calendar. Now, with the LUNISOLAR calendar, this is where there is so many different ways to do this. The LUNISOLAR calendar has elements of the lunar calendar as well as the solar calendar, because each month is like a lunar calendar, and it has the cycles of the moon. They're either 29 or 30-day months, but every few years you add a month. However, there's still only 12 months because we aren't actually adding another month with another name. We are just extending the last month for the duration of 2 months or 2 lunar cycles. So it's also in tune with the solar calendar and the seasons. Now, as you can see down here, I have a 8-year cycle LUNISOLAR calendar, which I believe is like the Jewish calendar. There is another calendar version, which we'll talk about after this. It's the 19-year cycle based on the Metonic Cycle. But real quick, I want to explain this 8-year cycle one, which is a bit simpler to understand because it has significantly fewer years. So, on the first year, it would be 11 days short of the solar calendar. On the second year, it would be 22 days short than the solar calendar. And then on the third year, there's a plus sign next to the 3 because you add an extra 30 days for a month, for another moon cycle. And then on the fourth year, you're 14 days short. On the fifth year, you're 25 days short. On the sixth year, you add another month, which is 30 days, and you're only 6 days short, then on the 7th year, you are 17 days short, and then on the 8th year, you add another 30 days to catch back up to their solar calendar, and you are 2 days over, except if you take into consideration leap year or leap day, where you add an extra day to the end of February in the solar calendar, you're actually perfect, because it depends on what year you want to add, but say you're adding it on the 4th year and the 8th year, those 2 days are gone because we add them. So in 8 years, it's perfect, except for the fact that you add 30 days 3 times instead of alternating between 29 and 30 day extra months. That's where I see a little bit of a fault in this system over time. So that's why there's other versions of the lunisolar calendar, more popularly what I talked about before, the 19-year cycle, and I've got some notes on my phone, so I'm going to read them off. So Meton in Athens, Greece in 432 BC invented the Metonic Cycle, the 19-year cycle, which consists of 235 lunar months, where every 19 years, the new moon, the full moon, whatever phase of the moon you want, lands on the same exact day every year. And that's why every 19 years there's a full moon on Halloween, which we just had this last Halloween, which was super cool, right? So the math behind this 19-year cycle is, if you take 19 years times 365.25 days, that's 6,939.75 days, okay? And then if you take 19 years times 12 months times 29.53 days, which is the lunar cycle, you'll get 6,732.84. Now, if you take the solar days and you take those lunar days, those 6,000 numbers, and subtract the lunar from the solar, you are off a whole 206 days, 0.91 days, so almost 27 days. If you take 206.91 divided by 29.53, so you're taking the days that we have to catch up to the solar calendar, dividing it by the lunar cycle, you get 7.007, which the 007 doesn't matter for a lot of years, okay? So that 7 is 7 months. So you have to add 7 months throughout this duration of 19 years. And on Wikipedia, it says you add it to the 3rd year, the 6th year, and the 8th year, like I did with this one, but you also add it to the 11th year, the 14th year. This says the 17th year, but when I tried doing this, I got the 16th year. It really doesn't matter in the whole total calculations, but it does matter if you're living it and the moon isn't like in tune with the calendar for a whole year. So I'm pretty sure it's the 16th day, not the 16th year, I'm sorry, not the 17th year. And then the 19th year. So that's 7 out of the 19 years, and then 12 of them don't have that extra month added at the end. So that's why the significance written in the Quran is so unbelievably amazing, right? It says the word years 19 times, 7 plural, 12 singular, and it's pretty cool. Someone wrote that, and it has significance. So tell me what you guys think of the lunar calendar, the solar calendar, and the lunisolar calendar, which is obviously the best of both worlds. I just think it would be nice if the start of the new year was the beginning of Aries season, and we found a moon close to the new year. Like, there was just a new moon a few days ago, and I really feel this is like the start of a new year now. So let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I'm going to be doing more of these calendar videos if you guys want me to, because like I said, like, so many different calendar systems. The stuff I'm talking about now is based in BC people came up with this, okay? And the Babylonians and the Sumerians came up with this. All of these different countries and cultures reinvented this calendar, so there's so many different calendars that are lunisolar calendars. And I feel like they work a lot better than the calendar we're using in the Western world. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a whole great 19 years, and I'll catch you next week or whenever I decide to film another video. Love and light, and the hybrid children are coming soon.